in our final example for section 3.1, again, we're going to be using StatCrunch in order to do these. I have worked these out in advance. So again, in StatCrunch, we're using our stat and our summary stats. All right, so Mrs. Johnson's children are 2, 2, 3, and 5 years of age. Find our mean and standard deviation using StatCrunch. Our mean we could also easily calculate using addition and division, but that's going to give us 3. And then our standard deviation from StatCrunch is 1.414. Okay. Find the mean and standard deviation in 20 years using StatCrunch. So if we were to add 20 years to all of these ages, right, we have 22, 22, 23, and 25. Right, so then what I'm going to do in StatCrunch is plug in these new values. Our mean is now 23. Our standard deviation is 1.414. Right, so again, I've worked these out in advance using the summary stats. Right, and then we're asked a couple of questions about these. Right, is the mean of their ages in 20 years larger, smaller, or the same, and why? Right, if we compare these means, notice that this one is significantly larger. Right, it is actually increased by the same as what we added. Right? So we're going to say, since the ages increase by 20 years, so does the mean. Now if we look at our standard deviation, notice that our standard deviation is the same. Right? Remember, standard deviation has to do with spread, right? And the children still have the same spread between their ages. So our standard deviation is the same because the spread of the ages remains the same. So again, as we're going through, we've looked at a bunch of examples in this section. We've talked about mean, we've talked about standard deviation. Again, mean is our center, it's our balancing point, it's our typical value. Our standard deviation has to do with our variability, has to do with our spread. Most of our values are within one standard deviation of the mean. And we're actually going to take these ideas of mean and standard deviation and further explore them and relationships between them in our next section, section 3.2.